It is on. Do you believe your favorite team can bring home a conference title in 2023? Week 4 is the widespread start of league play. Do you think a certain team is a national championship contender? There's a decent chance it has a marquee game on Saturday. This, in short, is a beautiful weekend of college football. We have Florida State versus Clemson in the ACC and Iowa versus Penn State in the Big Ten, as well as Colorado versus Oregon in the Pac-12, and Ole Miss versus Alabama in the SEC. Oh, by the way, there's a top 10 non-conference showdown in South Bend, Indiana, between Ohio State and Notre Dame. It is so on. Block out your Saturday, my friends, because the best weekend of the 2023 college football season to date is coming your way. In short, this will be known as Smorgasbord Saturday. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Week 4 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting perhaps the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we will catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we hope to have him back with us at this time tomorrow night for the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Smorgasbord Saturday. You're probably wondering, why in the world are you calling it Smorgasbord Saturday? In layman's terms, it's the most loaded college football weekend so far of this young season. There's 19 games altogether, but 6 of them are ranked versus ranked matchups. And there's even some good ranked versus non-ranked matchups as well. So sit back, enjoy, as MF and I, and if Bullock comes in, we will set the table for this Smorgasbord Saturday. So let's not waste any more time, friends. Here we go. Let's start it off. We have 3 games, 12 noon, that will be going down on Saturday. All of them, well, there's one that really stands out, and one that has sleeper potential. This one, kind of a sleeper, but, we'll have to think about it. But we started off with good old MF and Michael Bullock's team, the number 2 team in all the land, the Michigan Wolverines, at home yet again. I believe every game they've played so far has been in the confines of the Big House, Michigan Stadium, Ann Arbor, Michigan. And this is no exception. At home one more time as they welcome the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers into the Big House, high noon. You can find this game on the Big Ten Network with Corey Provis, Jake Butt, and Brooke Fletcher. Michigan opening up as a 24-point favorite. Look at Rutgers. Comfortable wins against Northwestern, Temple, and Virginia Tech have put the Scarlet Knights on a legitimate track for bowl eligibility. October is an absolutely critical month for that chase, though. It's a fun storyline to follow, but Rutgers' unbeaten record will disappear in Ann Arbor as Jim Harbaugh returns to the Michigan sideline. Michigan wins comfortably, 41-14. Michigan takes care of Rutgers, so there isn't much more to say. MF, Mr. Michigan, back once again in the Big House. Rutgers, surprising Rutgers team coming in. But the big story, of course, your head man, the head cheese himself, Jim Harbaugh, back on the sideline. And you know what that means, folks? Business is about to pick up.
Absolutely, business is about to pick up. But, if you're a Michigan Wolverine fan, you're also a little annoyed after their last performance. They had a bad performance. Yes, the scoreline may say that Michigan won the game, and that's great and all. But when J.J. McCartney throws 3 interceptions and turns the ball over 4 times in the game, let's just say Michigan fans were not very happy with JJ in last week's game. Look, I'm gonna say it. I think they will win, and I think they'll win very more comfortably this time around. But JJ better wake up, man, because like I said, he had some good performances. So I'm not gonna absolutely destroy him. But there was a few Michigan fans that were a little concerned about JJ McCartney, wondering what the heck happened in that performance. So really nothing more to add, Anthony. Michigan should win this one, and it's back to you.
All right, MF, and we move on to when it comes to the noon window. This is the game of the high noon window right here. As we now move on to the now number 4 Florida State on the road against the Clemson Tigers. Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina, Death Valley. You can find this game over on ABC with Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath. And Florida State opening up as only a 2.5-point favorite. All right, MF, let the Smorgasbord Saturday Mayhem begin.
Well, here's the thing with this game. If you really think about it, yes, uh, you would think that, all right, this should be possibly um, their pick to game, Florida State. But Florida State almost got upset by Boston College. Like, that was absolutely out of nowhere. Nobody saw this coming. And all of a sudden, we started looking at this team and we're like, what is going on? This is not the Florida State team we were expecting. Well, guess what? They got pushed to the limit.
That penalty saved them. That late penalty on BC literally saved their ass.
It did. And a lot of people were like, well, now you're going up against Clemson. And look, first game out, when they went up against Duke, they got whitewashed. They absolutely got manhandled. They got destroyed. They were absolutely humiliated. And everybody was wondering, what is this? What's going on? Why did that happen? Should we be concerned about what's going on over there? Like, what was the meaning of that upset? Well, all of a sudden, now we're turning around and we're like, well, maybe it was a bad game. Maybe they just had a horrific night, slept behind the wheel, whatever you want to say. But all of a sudden, you start to think about certain games and certain battles and certain teams, and you're like, can they actually do this? Can they pull off the upset? What are we going to get? What are we looking at here? There's a lot of uncertainty going into this game. I mean, a lot of uncertainty going into this game. So at the end of the day, I at first I would say Florida State should win, but after what I saw, Anthony, it made me cause for pause, if that makes any sense. And all of a sudden, it almost makes me want to go against Florida State and say Clemson at home. But I'm willing to give Florida State one more chance. So I'm gonna go with the Seminoles, but I'm not as convinced as I was about a week ago. Going in, I was like, no, Florida State's got it. This is gonna be an easy win. I just don't see an upset here. After what I saw, man, they put me on high alert, and all of a sudden, now I'm wondering if FSU is I don't know what they call fool's gold, basically makes us believe that they're really good, and maybe they got exposed. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Florida State, but I'm not 100% convinced on my pick here. Florida, what's yours?
Florida State nearly squandered a big lead at Boston College last week, so the Noles are not entering their biggest game of the season on a hot streak. Still, the lulls of Clemson's offense are concerning enough to not pick the upset on my end. Florida State ends its 7-year skid in this series. I'm going with Florida State to win. It'll be a close game. like I expect a lot of these games will be. 30-23, Florida State gets by Clemson. I would not at all be surprised if Clemson won, but huge game, major ACC implications here. The winner of this game, you know, could end up going going a long way towards towards going to the ACC championship game in December. So, we'll have to wait and find out. But what a way to start off the Smorgasbord Saturday festivities when it comes to all these massive showdowns. This is the first big one right here. So 30-23 Florida State wins. I would not at all be surprised if Clemson stole this one. I wouldn't. Considering they played better the last 2 weeks after that hoof-up performance against Duke on Labor Day night. So we'll see what happens. All right. The final noon game. Sleeper game of the week potential right here. The number 16 Oklahoma Sooners on the road at the Cincinnati Bearcats, Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. This game will be big noon Saturday on Fox, and you know who's working that as always. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. Oklahoma opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. I'll tell you what, Cincinnati may be in for a rude welcome in its home Big 12 opener. Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel has guided the Sooners to 534 yards and almost 56 points a game, showing off a brand of explosiveness that will be difficult for Cincinnati to contain. However, the Bearcats have tallied 6 takeaways so far. If they steal 1 or maybe 2 possessions, it could get interesting. But at the end of the day, I still got to go with Oklahoma in this one. Boomer Sooner. 41-24. Oklahoma defeats Cincinnati. So there isn't much more to say. MF, you've put Florida State on upset alert. Should Oklahoma be on upset alert or not really?
This one's a little more. I'm a little more confident with Oklahoma. Look, I'm gonna say it like this: they haven't really played spectacular, but I feel a lot more confident with them than I do with Florida State. I think Oklahoma should be able to handle their business, even though yes, it's on the road. I do have Oklahoma winning the game, and I do believe they'll get this one out of the way. So give me Oklahoma to win. Anthony, next game.
Are you ready for the 3:30 games, MF?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go.
Yeah, we got a lot of them. According to my well, all right, not as many as I thought. We got 5 of them. But we started off with, when it comes to, wow, let me tell you, of these 5 games, 3 of them are Smorgasbord Saturday implication games. One potential sleeper, another potential sleeper game, and the other definitely a zonk game. But MF, we're going to start with the game of the 3 window. This highly anticipated Pac-12 showdown. The number 10 Oregon Ducks back at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. And they are going to be welcoming the number 19 Colorado Buffaloes, Coach Prime and company. Game can be found on ABC. And on the call for this game will be Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, and Katie George. And Oregon opening up as a 20.5-point favorite. Okay, so MF, Colorado, Oregon, if I'm going to be honest with you, with all due respect to a lot of these other games, for me, this is the number 2 game. This is the number 2 game of the week as far as I'm concerned, if not for that main event primetime showdown.
And I'm not mad at you for saying that either, because this is a big matchup, and this is the game that's going to make or break Deion Sanders and Colorado. You know, first game out, they put everybody on notice with TCU, against TCU. Then last week, everybody was thinking, they should have no problem with Colorado State. They're going up against Colorado State with all the negativity, with all the hoopla, and then that head coach said stuff about Prime that this should have been a blowout, right?
Absolutely.
Wrong. It went into overtime. Not one. It went double overtime.
Game of the week in year so far.
And Colorado barely escaped with that victory. They won, but they barely escaped. So now you got Oregon in Eugene at home, and everything is riding on their season too. You got 2 3-0 teams going at it. You don't have Travis Hunter for Colorado. He's out. He's not playing. That's a huge loss. And for Oregon, who already had a little bit of a battle test earlier with Texas Tech, they won that first game, had no problem with Hawaii and won that game. And now you got Colorado. This is the make or break moment. Now, I will say this. 21 points or 20 and a half, 21 points, way too high of a spread.
Disrespectful.
That was, I mean, I get it. I understand why why Vegas put that line out there.
Series history.
But yeah, because of series history, track record, the past. But this is a different Colorado team, boys. And that's why that number is ridiculously high. Like, that is absolute overkill. They're thinking that Oregon is going to run through Colorado and basically make Colorado look like a bunch of frauds. They're not frauds. They are dangerous. They are really good. And they could easily pull an upset. I'm not saying they will. I think if would I be surprised if there was an upset here? Absolutely not. However, I think the Travis Hunter injury is too much for Colorado to overcome. On top of that, I think Oregon offensively is going to turn this sucker into a track meet because their high-power offense, and that's the reason why. If you go offense to offense, I think Oregon is a little better. Not by much, but they're a little better. I think it's going to turn into a track meet. This is going to be a high-scoring affair. If you're looking for defense in this game, you're not going to find it here.
Over-under is 70.5.
Yeah. This sucker's going over, Florio.
Agreed.
When I put my final score up there, you're going to know why I say that.
Same here.
But at the end of the day, I feel like Oregon is going to have enough weapons, just enough, just to eke out a measure of victory, and it will be a very, very close game, at least in my eyes. 49-41. Oregon outlasts Colorado, and they will give Coach Prime his first loss in Pac-12, and more importantly, consequently the biggest NCAA game of the week. Like you said, the one at 7:30 that we'll get on later tonight. That's the main event. But this one, I think it's going to be a great matchup. 49-41, Colorado falls a little short. I got the Oregon Duck, and they're going to quack their way to a 4-0 start. Florio, it's yours.
That's why you're the hype man, MF. Why you've always been the hype man and always will be. All right. Thanks to an offense averaging 41.3 points a game, Colorado is capable of hanging around in any game. Two major problems, however, are Colorado ranks 121st in yards allowed per carry and 130th in tackles for loss allowed a game. Oregon, which is ranked second nationally at almost 7 yards per rushing attempt, is particularly built to capitalize on the latter weakness and hand the Buffs their first loss. I agree with you, MF. Oregon wins. High scoring game, but just a smidgen lower, if I'm going to be honest with you on my end. 48-38. Oregon outlast Colorado. It's going to be close into the fourth quarter, but I think Oregon will put it away with a late score to pull away. So 48-38, Oregon defeats Colorado. What a game that's going to be. My God, that's going to be so fun to watch. I can't wait. All right. Next up, we go from one big Pac-12 showdown to another big Pac-12 showdown. The number 11 Utah Utes, once again at home at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah, and they will be welcoming the number 22 UCLA Bruins. And you can find this game over on Fox. And on the call for this game will be Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams. Utah opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. That's a little more respectable. The last game should have had a spread almost similar to that, but whatever. Week 4 may finally bring the season debut of Utah quarterback Cam Rising. In this matchup, more than any before, though, his availability is key. Nate Johnson has done an admirable job recently, but UCLA has surrendered only 4 yards a snap. If Cam Rising plays, I lean towards Utah. If not, flip the prediction in UCLA's favor. But I'm going to assume that Cam Rising does play, and if that's the case, then I'm going with the Utah Utes to win this game, and my final score is going to be 23-20. Utah defeats UCLA. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. MF, the other big Pac-12 showdown as part of Smorgasbord Saturday. Number 11 Utah at home against number 22 UCLA. It depends on the health of Cam Rising. If Cam Rising plays, you got to like Utah's chances. But if he doesn't, you got to like UCLA's chances.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do believe that even if that does turn out, I do believe it's all gonna be Utah. I have to convince myself on that one. I think Utah's gonna get the job done. I think they're gonna win this game. So I do believe that they're gonna win it. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. Next up, the first half of a rare doubleheader on CBS. This is the SEC on CBS, as it will be the number 13 Alabama Crimson Tide back at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, and they will be welcoming the number 15 Rebels of Ole Miss. SEC on CBS, believe it or not, it's not the crew you think. It's going to be Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, and Jason McCourty on the call for this game. Alabama opening up as a touchdown favorite, 7-point spread for Alabama. So MF, I gotta ask, it's the classic battle of two great SEC slogans and catchphrases. For Alabama, of course, we all know it's Roll Tide. For Ole Miss, it's known as Hotty Toddy. Those are the two big slogans. But in all seriousness, though, MF, Alabama, very fortunate to get by South Florida. I mean, they got Ole Miss coming in.
Yeah.
Oh boy, upset! If there was ever an upset alert, this is
it. This is it. You got it. You absolutely said it. And the thing is, there's so much uncertainty with Alabama's quarterback play, and that's the major factor of everything. They got it at running back. They got a good O-line. They got the receivers. The defense is good enough. But the thing is they don't have a true number one quarterback. But if you believe Nick Saban, and I heard him yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, because now he has a weekly segment on Pat McAfee's show exclusively on ESPN, and he went out and said that he's got his guy. That right now Alabama, his starter going into the game. Oh, do I have the preview? I guess I don't. Oh, because I'm using Bleacher Report. That's why. I apologize, but the fact of the matter is, you don't know who the true number one was. So, like I said, during what was a very telling was during that off day, they did announce that Alabama, that let me see, hold on one second. Do I have I guess I don't have a preview here. So I thought they would have had an actual preview. They don't. Damn. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. So basically, he said, Nick Saban says that Jalen Monroe is going to be the starter, and there's always that uncertainty. Did he, that he earned the opportunity to be the number one guy? This is exactly what he said, during the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, that Jalen Monroe is going to be the starter, and that's that. But the question I have is, how long is that leash? Because if he starts not playing so great, do they turn to another quarterback? Remember, in the last game, he turned to 3 different quarterbacks till the end of the game, and they barely got by. The defense won that game. And to go up against Mississippi, and they might pull there's a very good chance for an upset. But I kind of feel like Monroe will figure it out, that Jalen Monroe will get the job done here. And I do believe that they'll get the victory. But I'm not 1,000% about the way they've been playing. Ole Miss has played very good beginning of the year. But the thing is, they haven't really been tested yet. They had Tulane, they had Georgia Tech, they had Mercer. This is really their first major test of the year. Where Alabama, right out of the gate, had an easy game, then got smacked around by Texas, then South Florida. Even though the scoreline says 17-3, if you were watching that game like I was, Bama did not look good at all. So I'm going to go with Alabama. More battle-tested, more of a fighting squad. I think they'll get the job done. But would I be stunned if Ole Miss pulls the upset? Absolutely not. Anthony Florio, it is yours. Bama squeaks out a victory. But again, I would not be stunned if we hear Ole Miss pull yet another stunner and knock Alabama out. If they do knock Alabama out, that might be the end of Alabama's hopes for anything, SEC or national championship.
Feeling the pressure of a fading dynasty, Alabama has returned to Jalen Milroe as the starting quarterback. Switching after one loss seemed like a panicked move anyway, and the Crimson Tide looked awful at South Florida. In my view, the carousel is going to cost Bama in a jarring loss to a balanced, explosive Ole Miss offense. MF, I'm calling for the upset. I think Ole Miss is going to steal it. I'm going to say 29-24. Ole Miss shocks the world and goes into Alabama. Hotty toddy, indeed. So, but would I be surprised if Bama won? No, absolutely not. But with what I've seen from Bama and how, I mean, this is the shakiest I've ever seen a Bama team, ever since this whole Nick Saban thing started. So they better get it right and they better win this game, because if they don't, like MF said, we could end up going yet another college football playoff without them. How shocking would that be? But we'll wait and find out. But this is a make or break game for Alabama right here, no question about it. So 29-24, Ole Miss steals it. So with that, we move on. All right, we move on to the game that I consider the 3:30 window. The number 18 Duke Blue Devils. And they will be on the road against the UConn Huskies. And just bear with me for a moment here. Okay. Number 18, Duke Blue Devils on the road against the UConn Huskies from Pratt and Whitney Stadium at Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut. And you can find this game over on the CBS Sports Network. And on the call for this game will be Chris Lewis, Robert Turbin, and Kiana Martin. And Duke opening up as a 21.5-point favorite. All right. Similar to ACC counterpart Miami, Duke should be headed for a straightforward victory on Saturday. UConn is more competitive than recent years, but still hasn't cracked more than 17 points this season. Duke wins, and Duke wins comfortably, 38-14. Tune-up game for them because MF, next Saturday night, may be the biggest game in the history of Duke football. Because next Saturday night, Notre Dame is coming to Duke in what could be the game of the week when it comes to next week's schedule. But I got Duke, nice tune-up here, comfortable win, 38-14 over UConn. So MF, come on in. We got Duke at UConn. Duke a 21-point favorite. Should be a nice little tune-up for them. Like I said, next Saturday night, Notre Dame coming in, maybe the biggest game in the history of Duke football.
Without a doubt. And the thing is that if you're thinking about it, you gotta go with Duke here. Like you said, is it going to be a perfect game? Most likely not. But I'm willing to go with Duke and to say that they're going to win this game. So I really got nothing more to add. Give me Duke to win it, and yeah, let's go with the next game, Anthony.
And I do believe this is the final game of the 3:30 window, and it's another one of your favorites, MF. Welcome back to the top 25. Coming in at number 20, the Miami Hurricanes. And they're going to be on the road against the Temple Owls. Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, the home of the Eagles. And you can find this game over on ESPN2 with Lowell Galindo, Kirk Morrison, and Stormy Buonantony. Miami opening up as a 23.5-point favorite. MF, your boys, the U, are they back?
Well, the thing is that first off, they were officially back when they beat Texas A&M. The way that they handled Texas A&M and they beat them in that game, that was really the moment where they were back. Everybody knew, the U is back. Marco Cristobal, the magic he brought to Oregon, he finally brought the magic to the U, and the fans are believing. The last time we've had this type of hype and excitement for Miami, Manny Diaz, the turnover chain, and that was that culture of the Miami Hurricanes. There was there was like a bandwagon for like an entire year. They were like the darlings of college football, and they had everybody watching them, saying, "Oh my God, this team is back, and they're getting better than ever." Well, they do. I think they'll handle their business. They'll beat Temple pretty handily. I don't see Temple being much of a threat here. Even though, keep an eye on Temple. Temple could surprise a team or two but I just don't see them hanging with Miami. I think Miami is it's just there's just too much weapons, too much weaponry for them. And Tyler Van Dyke is actually a very underrated quarterback. Nobody really talks much about him, but let me tell you, folks, Tyler Van Dyke it was efficient in his last game. He was. I'm gonna say this. He was very Tua Tagovailoa like of the Miami Dolphins. 19 of 23, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. That was very, very, very Tua-like, a la what Tua was doing against the New England Patriots this past Sunday night on Sunday Night Football. I believe he'll have another consistent performance. Miami's going to win very comfortably. Florio, it is yours.
Especially if Florida State beats Clemson this weekend, Miami has a tremendous chance to compete for an ACC championship game appearance in 2023. Before the Canes open conference play, though, they travel to Temple for what should be a painless win. They shouldn't lose focus, but, they could, or we could, I don't know, but nonetheless, Temple lost to Rutgers by 29 points in week 2. Enough said. The U wins. Miami, I got them winning comfortably. 41-17. Miami all over Temple. We have one 4 o'clock game to get into before we get into the prime time games, and that's really where the meat and potatoes are coming. So get ready. But first, we have a 4 o'clock game here, as it is the now number 23 Tennessee Volunteers back at home at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. And they're going to be welcoming the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. Yes, sir. They're coming in.
If you're gonna do it right. Mimi.
Yes, sir. All right. Yes, but nonetheless, MF, the Roadrunners are coming. They're coming to Neyland. Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. You can find this game over on the SEC Network. And on the call for this game, it will be Dave Neal, Garrick Mason, and Taylor Davis. And Tennessee opening up as a 21-point favorite. There's no question about it. It's Tennessee. In the preseason, this matchup looked like a potentially tricky game for Tennessee. However, UTSA will likely be without their star quarterback, Frank Harris, for the second week in a row. Tennessee rolls to a much-needed bounce-back / get-right win. Tennessee wins. They win comfortably, 41-10. They'll be like the Coyote. They'll catch the Roadrunners here in this case. 41-10. Tennessee, get-right game, bounce back, get back on track. And MF, they certainly need one after that dismal outing in Florida. Oof.
I can't disagree with what you just said there, Florio. So there's no doubt in my mind on that one. Look, Tennessee they did not come to play. They looked bad. They looked like they just didn't have that right formula, and they got smacked for it. Once again, Florida showed why they're just as good, just as formidable, and Tennessee is going to bounce back. They'll win this game. There's really nothing more to add. So, Florio, it's yours.
All right, MF, and we move on to the prime. We got 3 7 o'clock games to get into, and we're going to stay in the SEC, as we got the SEC Game of the Week on ESPN at 7 p.m. The number 12 LSU Tigers back at home at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, and they're going to be welcoming the Arkansas Razorbacks. And on the call for this game, believe it or not, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe. This is their game. LSU opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. All right, MF, Arkansas and LSU kicking off our primetime slate of Smorgasbord Saturday.
Yeah, and LSU coming back, winning 2 in a row, especially after that last game against Mississippi State where they dominated 41-14. All of a sudden, Arkansas coming off of a heartbreaking loss over BYU last week, and now you're going to Death Valley, to LSU's home turf on a Saturday night game. Ooh, that's a bad matchup for you guys. I just, you know what? It's 17 and a half seems a little high. I'm not saying it's disrespectful like the Colorado Oregon was. I just feel like that Arkansas is going to make this a little more of a game, but I do believe that at the end of the day, I do have LSU winning the game. 38-28 is my final score. I think LSU is good. I think Arkansas is going to make a game out of it, but then LSU is just going to go off and just explode, and that's going to be the end game for them. And then they'll win it pretty comfortably. So 38-28 is my final score. Anthony, it's yours.
As the Razorbacks await the return of star running back Raheem Sanders, they're at a tough deficit in this matchup. LSU has shaken off that opening loss to Florida State and just pounded Mississippi State in their house. LSU cruises to another SEC victory. I think Arkansas will probably give them fits in the first half, but I think LSU will dominate in the second half. LSU will win comfortably and pull away. 38-17, LSU defeats Arkansas. The next 7 o'clock game, and it's another smorgasbord Saturday implication game. What a week for the Pac-12. They have 3 marquee matchups. We talked about Colorado, Oregon. We talked about UCLA and Utah. Well, we have a sleeper matchup here. The number 14 Oregon State Beavers on the road against the number 21 Washington State Cougars from Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. You can find this game on Fox. And on the call for that game, it will be... just bear with me so I find it here. Jeff Levering and Mark Helfrich will have the call for this game. And Oregon State opening up as only a 3-point favorite. So definitely something to think about here. As I pull up this one here. Okay, bear with me for a moment. All right, there we are. Want to compete for a conference title in a crowded Pac-12? Gotta have this one. Clemson transfer DJ Uiagalelei has captured much of the attention paid to Oregon State, but the Beavers have been quietly stingy on defense. They may need a clutch stop to survive a trip to Pullman. They should most certainly be on upset alert. Washington State is no slouch. I mean, they did a number on Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. So if they can beat Wisconsin, who knows? But to be honest, I'm liking this Oregon State team a little bit more. Mm. I mean, I would not at all be surprised if Washington State pulls this one out, but I got to go with Oregon State. I think they're a smidgen better, especially because of DJ Uiagalelei. So I think Oregon State will barely survive. They'll barely steal one. I wouldn't be surprised if they walk off with a field goal in this one. 27-24. Oregon State defeats Washington State. MF, I mean, what are the odds that the Pac-12, maybe the most ridiculed conference in college football the last several years, would have 3 marquee matchups, all with smorgasbord Saturday implications?
Yeah, they do, no doubt. The problem I have is when DJ Uiagalelei was with Clemson, he played small in those big moments. Big games, he never plays that great. When it's against a cupcake team, he's fine. But when he played against Florida State, played, against like an Alabama or Georgia, he didn't play well. Did not play well at all. And I believe the upset's going to happen. I disagree with you, Anthony. I'm going with Washington State to win it. I just feel like they are going to figure it out. They got the right offense, the right defense, and on top of that, they've already had a big win earlier in the year. Washington State knocked out Wisconsin early in the year. First week, they won. So I believe they got that mentality. They got the pedigree for it. I think they're going to pull in another upset here. I think a lot of people are underestimating them, and I think it's going to happen. Washington State wins. Florio, next game.
All right, fair enough. We'll see what happens. And we move on to our final 7 o'clock game. And it features, well, MF, I know you're going to love this. Look who's back in the top 25. The now number 25 Florida Gators, back at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida. And they're going to be hosting the 49ers of Charlotte. And you can find this game over on the SEC network. And on the call for this game will be Clay Matvick and Aaron Murray. Florida opening up as a 28-point favorite, 4-touchdown spread for the Florida Gators. MF, Florida coming off that huge win over Tennessee last week. No question they'll keep the momentum going here against Charlotte.
Absolutely. I'm not afraid of this one. This one's, you could even call it the lock of the week for me. I just feel like Florida is just playing with the house money right now. After that shocking loss at the beginning of the year, where they got absolutely manhandled by Utah, they turned around, had an easy game against McNeese State. So we're like, yeah, all right, fine, whatever. That doesn't really mean anything. Try to do that against Tennessee, and they're like, okay. They took Tennessee to the woodshed and kind of beat up on the Volunteers, and they were like, all right, now what? And we're like, okay, well, we respect you. That was a nice win. And I think they're going to keep that momentum going. I think they're going to get the job done, and I think that they're going to take down Charlotte. So yeah, Charlotte. They're going to try to make something out of this, but it's going to be a massacre. It's going to be Florida all day, and I think they're going to have an easy victory here. So give me Florida to win it. Anthony, back to you.
Following a huge upset of Tennessee, Florida has a prime opportunity for a non-conference win. Charlotte entered the fourth quarter with a lead on Maryland just 2 weeks ago, so the 49ers should not be underestimated. But the Gators will advance to 3-1 on the season. Comfortable, easy win for Florida. 37-13. Florida all over Charlotte. So now we move on to the 7:30 games. We got 4 of them. 2 of them have Smorgasbord Saturday implications. The other 2, not so much. And ironically, the first 2 are the non-implications here. So as we for the 7:30 games, 4 of them, like I said, started off with the number 1 team in all the land, your reigning, defending, undisputed, back-to-back college football playoff national champions, the Made in Georgia Bulldogs, back at home, those infamous hedges in Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, and they'll be welcoming the Blazers of UAB. You can find this game over on ESPN2. And on the call for this game, it will be Brian Custer, Rod Gilmore, and Lawrence Sisler. Georgia, the biggest favorite of the week. Georgia clocks in this week as a 42-point favorite. 6-touchdown spread for the back-to-back defending champions. And rightfully so. Opened SEC action with a shaky 24-14 win over South Carolina last week. Fortunately for the Dogs, they have a chance to reset before continuing with SEC conference play. The trip to Auburn looms next Saturday, but Georgia will put together a blowout win first. Another one of the locks of the week. Georgia wins. They'll roll. Next victim for the Bulldogs. 48-10. Georgia all over UAB. MF, next victim for the back-to-back champs.
Yeah, and at the very beginning, we were saying the same thing. It wasn't really a dominating performance early. However, they were able to figure it out in the second half because first half they did not look good, and at one point we were like, "What is wrong with Georgia? What is going on?" Because you remember Anthony, I was getting a notification that South Carolina's hanging around with them, and at one point, South Carolina was ahead on Georgia, and at half, and we were like, "Is this what is this? What is going on?"
14-3. They let them 14-3 at the half.
Yeah, so we kind of were looking at this like, did Georgia take South Carolina lightly? Did
First half
they
they did.
did they sleep behind the wheel here? What's going on?
They
Well,
may have.
Georgia did. Yeah, Georgia kind of flipped the switch in the second half, and they kind of they dominated the second half. 14 points in the third quarters, then a touchdown late in the fourth, and that was ball game, folks. So yeah, no, I think Georgia will continue their hot run. They'll continue what they're doing. Um, they'll win this one going away, but it's not going to be an easy one. So Florio, it's yours.
All right. We have one other 7:30 game with non smorgasbord Saturday implications before we get to the two big ones here. And MF, it's another one of your favorites. The now number 3 Texas Longhorns on the road against the Baylor Bears, McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas. You can find this game over on ABC. And on the call for this game will be Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Tom Luganbill. Texas opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. MF Baylor finally broke the win column, but then again, it was against Long Island. Now they got Texas coming in? Yeah, okay. Um, MF? Okay, maybe I think he might have had a probably froze on him for a moment, but
All right,
yeah, all right, I can hear you now.
we got the national attention. We're number 3 in the nation. Everybody's riding high on us because of what we did to Alabama. We should have dominated more on Wyoming, but we didn't really play up to our potential. But we gotta be locked in now, and they need to be locked in now because of the fact that um, you should do what you got to do, handle your business, get the job done. So I believe they'll have no problem with this game. But the thing is I hope they're not overlooking because there's another team known as the Kansas Jayhawks. They're right in their rearview mirror, but there's another battle on October 7th. I hope they're not thinking that far down the line, but they need to handle their business now. So they'll beat Baylor, no doubt. So I've got nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yep. Waco has become a shiplap paneled house of horrors for the Longhorns, who have dropped 4 of their last 6 trips to Baylor. After surviving a scare against Wyoming last Saturday, though, Texas will add another win opposite a Baylor team without their star quarterback, Blake Shapen. Texas will win this one. I think they'll win rather comfortably, 31-13. Baylor. MF, are you ready for the main event? It's time. It is main event time as part of Smorgasbord Saturday. This is the main event of the game of the week right here. Our next 7:30 kickoff, as it will be the number 6 Ohio State Buckeyes on the road against the number 9 Notre Dame Fighting Irish under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium, South Bend, Indiana. This game on NBC with the Big Ten Saturday night crew, Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, and Catherine Tappan. Catherine Tappan returning to Notre Dame, where she was, the sideline reporter before Zora Stevenson succeeded her. But nonetheless, Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, Catherine Tappan will be in South Bend for this main event game of the week right here on NBC. And Ohio State is opening up as a favorite, but it's only a 3-point favorite. 3-point spread for the Buckeyes. The fascinating part of this showdown is that Notre Dame's offense and Ohio State's defense, while both outstanding so far, have hardly been tested. Under the bright lights, which unit wins out? Red zone touchdown rate is regularly a key factor in these matchups, and Notre Dame enters this game with a scorching 86.7 clip. I believe going into this season, I did have, when we did our preview show last month, I went on the record and I thought Ohio State was going to win this game. Maybe do so somewhat comfortably. But after what I have seen from this Notre Dame team through these first 4 games, and especially the outstanding quarterback play of Sam Hartman, quarterback play that's been so outstanding, some people are actually putting him in Heisman Trophy conversations. What? A Notre Dame player?
Yeah.
In the running for the Heisman Trophy?
And well deserved.
That hasn't happened in years. It's been forever and a day since Notre Dame has had a legitimate Heisman Trophy contender. But this young man, he keeps doing what he's doing. We could easily see him in New York on that Saturday night in December. About it. I mean, like I said, going in, when we did our preview show last month as part of our regulation season finale, I was honest to goodness scared of this game because I really thought Ohio State probably going to come in and take care of business here. But, like I said, after what I have seen from Notre Dame after these first 4 weeks, especially those first 2 weeks against the Navy, a little shaky at times, against NC State, and they did stumble a little bit out of the gate against Central Michigan before they finally woke up and cried. But nonetheless, a strong case can be made that Saturday's top 10 clash in South Bend, Indiana, means much more to Notre Dame than Ohio State. I say that because Notre Dame's schedule only gives it 2 chances to make a significant imprint on the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Sam Hartman and company need a strong showing against Ohio State on Saturday night, and then against the USC Trojans on October 14. Of course, on that night, we'll be seeing the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, to put themselves in good standing with the committee. Hartman holds the edge in experience over Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord, who will make the second road start of his career inside Notre Dame Stadium. This will be the first time McCord faces a truly hostile environment. The Indiana Hoosiers do not have a football atmosphere that matches what the quarterback will see in South Bend. Both signal callers have star pass catchers they can trust. Kyle McCord has Marvin Harrison Jr., and Sam Hartman will connect with Chris Tyree. However, the difference-making offensive element could come on the ground game, where the Irish have an edge with Audric Estime. Estime has 521 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, compared to Travion Henderson's 191 yards and 4 touchdowns. Notre Dame also had an extra week to work out its offensive issues since it played in week 0 against the Navy in Dublin, Ireland. Ohio State took 2 weeks to resemble something close to a product. The Irish's offense has more going for it at the moment. And if Estime is the perfect complement to Sam Hartman, they could have one of their biggest wins in recent program history. And guess what? I think they're going to get it. You can say I'm a homer. I don't give a damn. I believe in this team. Like I said, going beforehand, I thought Ohio State was going to win. And if Ohio State were to win this game on Saturday night, I would not at all be surprised. I really wouldn't. But with this game not only being in Notre Dame, but especially with the way Notre Dame has been playing, especially Sam Hartman, like I said, Heisman contention, Heisman conversation, I got to go with my team. I got to go with Notre Dame. I believe. So if I am wrong, whatever. I don't care. Notre Dame wins. Notre Dame pulls the upset. My final score, 27-23, in what I believe will be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic, Under the Lights in South Bend on Saturday night. There isn't anything left for me to say except MF. You know I got to pull the Jesse from WrestleMania 5. When it comes to this game, this is this is truly what the words main event were meant for, because this right here is the main event. Brother, it don't get no bigger.
No, it doesn't, and this is as big as, like you said, this is playoff implications here too. If you're Notre Dame, you'll want to win this one. This could this be the moment that they've been waiting for? Could this be what could be next? We don't know. All we know is that, look, both teams haven't really had that big of a moment yet. I know Ohio State had that one game against Indiana. Didn't really look that great. They won. Notre Dame hasn't really been tested. They had the NC State game where they looked bad in one half, then dominated. At home against a really good team, it can go either way. And I've been hearing a lot of people that thinks that, going into this, and I was racking my brain through it too. And I'm like, all right, is there a path for either team if one team loses over the other? And I'm like, well, Notre Dame looks like the most complete team right now. They've looked like they've been playing great. They've dominated early on. Look, like you said, you might have a Heisman Trophy contender, where Ohio State, I haven't seen a moment where I would be like, uh-oh, the Buckeyes are back. You haven't had that moment yet. I haven't seen a team that has really made me believe that Ohio State has really stepped up. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a tough game, but I got more faith in Notre Dame than I do about Ohio State. So for that, I'm going with you, Florio. I'm not going homer pick. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but you're a Michigan guy. Of course you're going to go against Ohio State. No. In this instance, I'm trying to be as neutral as I can be. I'm trying to be an analyst more than anything. I could easily say and bash Ohio State and say, no. I'm not doing that. I just feel like Notre Dame's the better team. Just period. Straight up. You go head to head against, you do this 100 times out of 100. I say the majority of the time, I still pick Notre Dame over Ohio State. I would say it would be more like maybe 52-48, but I would still get the edge to Notre Dame. If this was at Ohio State, then I go for the Buckeyes, hands down. But because it's at home, at Notre Dame, and the last time we've had a big matchup like this, which I believe was Clemson at Notre Dame Stadium, we all remember Notre Dame won. So I'm not falling for that trap. I'm not falling for that mistake again. Notre Dame beats Ohio State in the game of the week. Florio, it's back to you.
Oh, we got yet another smorgasbord Saturday implication game in our next one, MF. Our final 7:30 rest of the way. It's games, 4 games left, but we move on to the final game of this week that has smorgasbord Saturday implications. Huge showdown in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And it's only fitting, MF, you started off because it's your conference after all.
You could even say that this is the Big Ten's game of the week.
Yep, and it's up there in our it's definitely within the top 5, no question about it.
Yeah, it's top 5 worthy. Top 5 worthy.
As it will feature the number 7 Penn State Nittany Lions back at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. Whiteout conditions, baby.
Yep. They asked for the whiteout.
Because they'll be welcoming the number 24 Iowa Hawkeyes. Big Ten game. And guess what? This game's going to be on CBS. I said there was a CBS doubleheader. This is the other half of it. And this is where you're going to find Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Jenny Dell. They will be in Happy Valley. And Penn State opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. I don't know about that, but it is what it is. But
here's the reason why, Florio. Because their starting running backs, the 2 starting running backs for Iowa, are both out. That's why it's 14.5. Because they're down to their 3rd string running back in this game. And on top of that, right now it looks like two of the top receivers for Penn State are probable. So that means they got a 75% chance of playing in the game. So they're probably going to play. Minor injuries where Iowa might not have their 2 best running backs going into this. That's a major problem. And it's the whiteout in Happy Valley. No. This got a making that this could turn out bad for Iowa. And I believe it. I believe the hype. Yes, it's been a great battle, but dude, now you're going up in Penn State. I think Penn State wins, and I think they win this going away. So give me Penn State to win it. That's why, Anthony. So I know you're thinking, why is this matchup so high? No, Iowa's down 2 running backs. They're to their 3rd string running back. That's why. And Penn State might have their whole roster there. That's why it's 14.5. That's why they believe it's going to be a blowout. So no, they're right for this call. Penn State wins, and they'll win comfortably.
In a battle of premier defenses, Iowa enters at a major disadvantage. Short of a non-offensive score or 2, and hey, I'd never completely rule it out with Iowa's defense, the Hawkeyes simply are not threatening. Penn State might not score much, but it doesn't need to score often to win. 24-10, Penn State defeats Iowa in the whiteout on Saturday night. All right, 3 games left. We have an 8:00 game up next. ACC battle here, as it will feature the now number 17 North Carolina Tar Heels on the road against the Pittsburgh Panthers. Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can find this game over on the ACC network. And on the call for this game, it will be West Durham, Tim Hasselbeck, and Taylor Tannenbaum. And North Carolina opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. So let me go into this one. Let me find it here. All right. Question for you. Should we start panicking about Pitt? After falling to Cincinnati, the Panthers only scored 6 points in a loss to West Virginia. North Carolina's offense hasn't really impressed yet, and road games are always a recipe for an upset. but I do not trust this version of Pitt right now. I got North Carolina winning this game. My final score 34-20. North Carolina over Pittsburgh. So, MF, your thoughts on North Carolina and Pittsburgh? Like I asked, should we start panicking about Pitt? I say yes.
I agree. I think they should too. Right now, I probably would say that I will go with North Carolina as well. I think that they'll win this game pretty handily. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
2 games left, and they're both 10:30 kickoffs. And MF, you're gonna love this. Both of these games, Pac-12 after dark. So here we go. We started off first with the number 5, the now number 5 USC Trojans, and they are going to be on the road against the Sun Devils of Arizona State. And this game will be taking place at what is now being called Mountain America Stadium. And if you are wondering, yes, this is the stadium formerly known as Sun Devil Stadium.
Yep.
They changed the name of it. It's now known as Mountain America Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. And you want to talk about, that's a that name change news to me. I still thought it was Sun Devil Stadium. I didn't know they changed.
Well,
the name.
I think they just recently changed the name, so I think that was just recently.
All right, but nonetheless, you can call it Mountain America. Still going to refer to it as Sun Devil Stadium, being the old school guy I am. So, but regardless of what you call it, it's going to be number 5 USC at Arizona State, 10:30 Saturday night on Fox, and on the call for this one, it will be Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, and Josh Sims. USC opening up as a 34.5-point favorite. MF, sounds like an easy win for USC at Sun Devil Stadium Saturday night.
Yeah. First off, just to let you know about the Mountain America Stadium, it's actually a credit union that's in the Arizona area, and it actually it's a part of a 15-year deal. So they got the naming rights to Sun Devil Stadium for the next 15 years in an excess of $50 million. Just to let you know. Doesn't matter if it's Mountain America Stadium. It doesn't matter if it's Sun Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona. You're about to get whitewashed and wiped out by a bunch of Trojans. The Trojan men of USC is walking in there. They're going to beat you up. They're going to take your dinner. They're going to scare your wives. And then they're going to go with a big fat W. Give me USC to win this and win this in a laugher. Florio, it's yours.
Couldn't agree with you more, MF. And much appreciated on that little background snippet there. But anywho, Arizona State, man, this poor offense. Freshman quarterback Jaden Rashada is sidelined for at least a month, and he may redshirt. Trenton Borgio and Drew Pine exited last week's loss to Fresno State with injuries, leaving the Sun Devils down to 4th stringer. Yes, you heard me right. 4th stringer, Jacob Conover. Oh, and now Arizona State hosts and welcomes USC and their Heisman Trophy and their reigning, defending, undisputed Heisman Trophy winner quarterback Caleb Williams. Fun, big fun for USC. And USC is damn sure going to have big fun on Saturday night. No question about it. 52-14, USC all over Arizona State. And we move on now. Final game of this smorgasbord Saturday, week 4. And it will feature, like I said, it's another this is literally Pac-12 After Dark because it's on ESPN because they're the ones who promoted Pac-12 After Dark. Another 10:30 kickoff Saturday night. ESPN, Pac-12 After Dark, the number 8 Washington Huskies back at home at Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. And they're going to be welcoming the Golden Bears of California. Cal Golden Bears coming in. You can find this game over on ESPN with Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, and Caleb Burton. And Washington opening up as a 20.5-point favorite. Yeah. The good news for Cal is the defense has snagged at least one interception in all 3 games. The bad news is none of North Texas, Auburn, and Idaho are like Washington's relentless passing attack. Cal might snag a takeaway or two, but Michael Penix Jr. will continue building an interesting Heisman resume of his own. Washington wins. They will do so comfortably. Final score 45-21. Washington all over Cal. MF, take it home.
I'm with you on this one. I think Washington is going to win. I think they're just going to be, it's going to be an easy victory for me as well. So give me Washington, and that's it. So, Anthony, let's just call it a night.
And we will do indeed that. We want to that will put the bow on this special Smorgasbord Saturday edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you tomorrow night, once again, 10 p.m., right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition, for the Week 3 edition, I should say, of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, where we will have a brief recap of the Thursday night football game between the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, and we will preview the remaining 15 games of week number 3 in the NFL. And then Saturday night, 10:30, over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. It's another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, where we will review Friday night SmackDown and AEW Collision. And then Monday night, we do it all again. Ridiculously Raw, right back here on the Tone 25, where we will have Monday Night Raw and my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling episode 1000 part 2 and NXT Level Up. And then Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we will have NXT, we will have AEW Dynamite, and we will preview next Thursday night's game on Amazon Prime Video, a matchup featuring the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. And then next Thursday night on here on the Tone 25, it'll be the Week 5 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. MF, this week is Smorgasbord Saturday, but next week we got some pretty good leftovers next week. We got another. This could end up being Smorgasbord Saturday Part 2. Look at some of these matchups next week. Utah and Oregon State. USC and Colorado.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fight.
Georgia and Auburn. We know that history. How about LSU and Ole Miss? And oh, by the way, like I said, the biggest game in the history of Duke football. Notre Dame at Duke. And that's the ABC Saturday night game of the week next Saturday night. And there's some other good ones. I mean, we've also got Kansas against Texas in a sleeper game. We got Michigan State against Iowa in a sleeper game. Alabama and Mississippi State in a possible sleeper game. Heck, Florida and Kentucky. So we could end up having another Smorgasbord Saturday next week. So, but it does depend on how this particular Smorgasbord Saturday works out. It could end up being leftovers next week. So get ready. So that'll be next Thursday night here on TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, Week 5 edition. Man, this season's flying by already. Unbelievable. But with all that being said, that'll do it. That'll put the bow on this. So until tomorrow night for the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher and in spirit Michael Bullock. And, of course, always in for the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night, for the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, you've been watching the Week 4 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, aka Smorgasbord Saturday, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long and bye, everybody, bye.